Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And Sam and I are happy to welcome Shane Russell, who is the Athletic Director, Assistant Athletic Director, almost promoted to Shane. Shane Russell, Athletic Director, Assistant at CHS. I'll finally get it straightened out, maybe anyway. You help out Brent, Duncan?
Yeah, my two primary jobs are I hire the officials for all the sports, and I try to do that in a year in advance for the next season. Except football, we're usually several seasons out because all the football games are at the same time, so they'll fill up quick. So, and then my primary role is to supervision, mainly girls athletics. So a lot of times, I'll be doing the girls' sports and Brent will be doing the boys, but there are times where we'll switch or we'll have to cover for each other if something's going on, and if we got multiple things going on. So that's primarily my two main roles.
Is there a requirement that the administrator be at all athletic events?
We like to have somebody there. Now there's occasion where we may have 2 or 3 things going on, and we may go back and forth. But you just never know at an athletic event if something happens, or you get an unruly fan. Of course, we know that never happens. And, or if there's an injury, there's things that can happen. So we try to make sure that it's covered by somebody, and occasionally somebody from the office, Mr. Judd or Mr. West, or we'll cover. So we try to make sure somebody's there at all times.
That's away as well as at home?
Not away. Away we try to go to the football games and basketball, but with so much going on at home, it's tough to make all the away games. We try the best we can.
Sure. Right. That's a big job. How many youngsters are involved in sports at CHS, roughly? Can you give us
roughly probably a third. So we're talking probably anywhere from 250 to 300 kids, maybe some years a little more, some years a little less. And we try to promote, kids participating, to be connected to the school. And then as the dean of students too, I see a lot of times students that don't have that connection to school, sometimes will start becoming troubled and getting in trouble, and things like that. But your athletes, they have that connection, they have that team camaraderie, they have that belonging and going to practice and things, and a lot of times people will think too that if you play sports, it's hard to manage your grades.
Sure.
Which as we've seen over the years, that really is not true, because you learn to manage your time. You learn to do things. You learn to keep up with those things, and it really helps. And most of our athletes are over a 3.0 GPA, and so it's really kind of a myth. But we try to encourage as many as we can to participate.
You keep track of the academic records of these youngsters?
Now that's Brent's main job, but every 9 weeks he goes through and makes sure that they're eligible, checks their grades, and then sends them to the coach if somebody's ineligible. But we stay on top of it, and we also contact their coach because their coach likes to be involved in their grades and making sure everybody stays eligible. And if somebody's struggling, there's some students that struggle a little bit with academics, and we try to gift them the help that they need. If they need some tutoring or anything like that, we try to make sure that they stay eligible.
So part of your job is a counselor, right?
Sure. We wear many hats, many hats.
How long have you been in this business, Shane?
Well, if you count the education business, this is my 26th or 7th year. I've been an administrator now this will be full-time 6, assistant AD 7. So I've done that, and then I filled in a couple of years when we've had some illnesses at the administrative level. So I'm anywhere from 6 to 8 years right now. So.
Now you got a full plate, but do you teach any classes or anything?
I don't teach anymore. I taught for 20 years. I was over at Grandview and Maplewood, taught physical education with the little ones, and then like I always said, kindergarten kind of run me out. Now that's the little ones that got to be tougher as I got older. And you want a new challenge, and you want to and going to the high school was I kind of wish I'd done it years ago, but I think it all worked out for the best.
Yeah. That's great. I know you like your job a whole lot. I know you guys.
I do. it's not one of those jobs you get up and you dread going in. You look forward to it. There's always, sometimes it's pretty challenging, especially with the dean of students part of it, with dealing with a lot of discipline and things like that. But, I never get up and dread going to work. It's always, and I really enjoy being around young people. It keeps you young. You talk to them and you make connections with them. And that's probably my favorite part.
Is the dean of students, I remember when I was in junior high, we had dean of boys and dean of girls. It seems like first couple of years of high school, but then that title went away. When did that come back?
Well, that came back the year that I started full time, which was 6 years ago. It got to be with a lot of teacher evaluations. It got to be very difficult for the administrative staff that we had to keep up with the evaluations and all the discipline, and so they kind of reworked it and kind of added that extra administrator there to kind of help out. My primary role as the dean of students is at the time was sophomore and freshman discipline, all boys and girls, and that was my primary, and all of attendance, and that's all 4 grades with attendance, and that's, I was averaging, probably seeing anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 kids in my office on a yearly basis. That's not counting my other roles. So now I just have the freshmen, and then I still have all the attendance. So, and then of course, like I said, I have several other roles that's involved with that also. But it's mainly a glorified assistant principal, I say.
Oh, it's an important job.
Well, it can be tough, but it is an important job. Somebody has to do it. And the thing that I value the most is when I discipline kids, it's not just about yelling at them or barking orders to them. It's about making a connection, trying to reason with them and saying, let's see if we can get this straight. Now, it doesn't always work, but I think for the most part, kids they appreciate that. And I'll see kids like in the store, or I'll see them in the hallway, and hey, Mr. Russell, and these are kids I've expelled before, and so they understand that that's your job. But if you truly show that you care about them, then they accept that as that's your job. It's not personal, and that's rewarding
good.
When you've had kids that you've disciplined several times, and they come back as a young man. Yeah, Mr. Russell, and they're talking to you, and they have families of their own, and that's kind of cool.
I would think that'd be very satisfying when you have a youngster in trouble and you help them out, and they come back and thank you.
It is.
Yes.
And that's why we get into the education business.
Sure, absolutely.
And you talk to people that get in the education business. It's not for the money, okay? It's because you enjoy young people and you enjoy the things that you do. And my daughter's now a teacher. She's an educator, and she's up in Rossville by Lafayette, and she's doing 3rd grade and loves it. This is her 3rd or 4th year, and
Great.
just loves it. So,
Well, I think back that some of the teachers that at the time I thought were the toughest were the ones that stick out in my mind as the best.
And I agree with that. Those ones that held you accountable,
Right.
that had the higher expectations, those are the ones you remember, and those are the ones that you felt that you learned from. And like I said, it's you maintain your discipline, but you also make connections with kids. You care about them, and I always say that's the one thing you can't fake is caring.
Sure.
You can't fake it.
Absolutely.
A student, a kid they'll call you on it if you don't care. So you really have to show them that you do, and then they develop this trust, and instead of they don't want to let you down. So that's when you get to that point, then you've succeeded.
In the same way, then, of course, our coaching staff, most of our coaching staff are educators too, and coaches tend to be that way.
Absolutely.
That tough but caring.
Exactly, and that's exactly right. And coaching is about teaching. I'd heard this saying once: anybody can coach, but a real coach teaches. And it not just teaches the X's and O's of the sport, they also teach about life, and they teach about caring, and they teach about being part of a team, and teach about leadership and things like that. So, yeah, your good coaches are the ones that can convey that to their team.
Exactly.
And a good coach has to get along with parents.
Yes, and there's going to be times that might be next to impossible, because we've all been there.
Yes.
as a parent, most of the time it's about playing time, and it's hard to explain to them a lot of times, yes, everybody, you want to play everybody, but, when you get to the high school, you're in the business to try to win. And if a coach believes that player is going to help them win, they're going to play that player. It don't matter about their last name. It doesn't matter.
It's not personal.
But like I said, when you're a parent, and I've been a parent, and we all kind of sometimes we put on those blinders, and we're like, we sometimes our opinions kind of trump our logical reasoning there sometimes.
Exactly.
Where'd you go to college?
I started out. I went to Hanover. My first 2 years. I graduated in '86 from South Ripley High School in Versailles. And I went to Hanover for a couple years, and then I transferred to Indiana State there in Terre Haute. And first year I went through the athletic training program. And I thought, well, that's not really for me. And I liked athletics, and I liked being part of a team. So I thought, I think I'll go into the teaching coaching realm. So I graduated, got my undergrad from there, and then since then I've got a couple of master's degrees at Ball State.
Where were you at before you came to Connorsville?
This was my first job and it was ironic that that when I was at Hanover, I was friends with a guy from Connorsville, and then when I transferred to Indiana State, right next door in my dorm was two people from Connorsville, and then when I graduated my first job, I come to their hometown, and I've been here ever since.
Well, that's great. Did you play athletics at all? Any sports?
I did. I played basketball and I played baseball. Was pretty successful at that at South Ripley. Of course, a little smaller school, but I was successful. And then I went to college at Hanover to play basketball.
Okay.
And once I got there, I realized, these people are a little bit better than what they were in high school. It's a little bit harder to get open and get the shots off and guard people. So it really, and then I played a semester of baseball at Hanover.
Okay.
I played fall baseball, but then when the spring team was announced, I was not on it. So, and rightfully so.
Did you, when you were at Hanover, did you ever have any pickup games with Dr. Crone? Jim Crone?
Yeah.
He's a pretty famous Connorsville guy.
Yeah, he was.
Our first All-Star.
He was also my sociology teacher. Gave me my first D, I believe. I still didn't learn how to study by then. But yeah, I did.
He still plays.
I think I remember him popping in there for a pickup game once in a while.
I know he still enjoys it.
Yeah, that was quite a feat when Jimmy Crone became Connorsville's first All-Star.
Yes, sure was.
Right.
Still loves the game. I'll digress here a minute. We were up Matt Howard's senior day at Butler, and I was there talking to Jim, and we went out on the floor, and he said, I hit a shot from right here in the semi-state. Yeah. I think he would like to have the ball in his hand and try it again.
And what years did he play?
He graduated in 62.
62. That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, little 4-year time. I was just a little fella, but I remember him playing.
We have a segment on sports from the CHS media class, and we'd like to show that to you right now. Here we are down at Jennings County on Friday night, and wow, what a facility they have. You can see the artificial turf there, and it was a great night for football, but it didn't quite turn out the way we wanted. There is Toole going in for our only touchdown, but I like having them on the schedule, and people down there, they say they'd like to get out of the Hoosier Hills Conference, and they kind of like us in the EIAC, so I don't know if there will ever be any expansion here, but it wouldn't be bad. I know we've played them in many sports. Now here's a game you know a little bit more about, Fran. It looks like a soccer game between the guys in black Shelbyville at Shelbyville.
See the big water tower there.
Shane, our sports over the weekend, though, soccer boys lost, girls lost, our football team lost, so it wasn't a real successful weekend.
No, it wasn't very successful. Volleyball team did pick up a victory against South Dearborn, but yeah, you're right. Overall, it was not a success. But sometimes you have a weekend like that, and then occasionally you have a weekend where you pretty much dominate in all areas. So that's just how athletics go.
Right. Sam, the game was tough at Jennings County.
It was tough.
Yeah, it was a tough
and
game.
we know the Spartans are struggling
Right.
on the football field, but over the weekend there was some things on social media that wasn't so kind to the coaches and to the players, and I think that's unfortunate.
That's not good.
Because the coaches and the players, they don't want to lose. They want to win, and they're doing everything they can to be successful and to be winners, and it just... unfortunately, they haven't come up with that first win yet this year,
Right.
but we still got to support them. Still a great group of young men out there, and a great group of coaches, and the community has just got to get behind them and drop the negativeness.
What was the final score?
It's 31-6.
Okay. The Spartans scored early in the ball game?
Yeah, they did, and scored in the second quarter, I think about midway through the second quarter. And I thought, well, they're maybe can put some points on the board here tonight.
Yes.
But we're only able to put up the 6. The coach down there at North Vernon at Jennings County is Connorsville native, Coach Zimmerman. And
Rick Zimmerman.
He's
played
been there.
basketball.
Talked to him a couple times, or I talked to him as I was coming across the field, and he's coached down there a couple times, and he was really excited about being able to play Connorsville.
But he's the former Spartan, and,
Yeah.
and he had his team up for us.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But it was, like I say, it was a nice night, and we had a good time down there. It just didn't turn out the way we wanted it to.
So a nice stadium, right?
Oh, very nice stadium, and I've been down there many times. Our girls played basketball down there many times, and I'm not sure. I was thinking they're back on the schedule, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Basketball,
girls basketball?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I could be wrong, but yeah, I've always enjoyed going down there. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. It's a little bit of a drive, but it's not unreasonable. It's not like when we used to drive to Huntington, or before that, driving to Jeffersonville.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. That's I've been there. Right. This week in sports at CHS, we might take a look at what the schedule looks like right now, and it'll be Tuesday night when things will be going on. That should be coming up here shortly. We had a junior varsity game with Shane scheduled today, but the weather interfered, right?
Yeah.
Football game?
Brett was kind of talking a little bit, well, what's it going to do? And it rained early in the morning, so we kind of we were debating, and finally about 2, it started raining pretty good again. To have them come 2 hour, hour and a half to hour and 45-minute drive to play in that, and just not knowing, it was just better to go ahead and postpone that.
Will you try to reschedule that, or is it getting too late in the season?
This late in the year, I think that's pretty much a wash now.
Yes. How's the junior varsity team doing, football team?
They're not doing well. If you go by wins and losses, they're not doing very well. But they're working hard. And it's some of those kids that haven't got a lot of playing time over the years, and they're working hard and doing the best they can. So, that's
a real learning experience for the youngsters, right?
It is. They get to the high school level, and they've jumped from middle school, which that's a different, it's a different animal at the middle school level, and then all of a sudden you're playing high school, and you got different grades playing. And, of course, we don't have a freshman team this year, so you got freshmen playing up, you got a couple playing on varsity, and playing JV, and you got older and bigger and stronger kids, and it's a learning. There's a little bit of a learning curve there.
What do you know about the middle school football program? How are they doing?
I think also when it comes to wins and losses, they're not doing really well. But there are some prospects down there, and I've heard some good things, and I think the 8th grade's doing a little bit more successful than the 7th grade right now, but. They're working hard.
We've got a couple of ex-Spartan football players coaching there, haven't we? Vessels, Macaulay Vessels.
Macaulay's down there, and I think Chad House is down there helping. He's now at the high school. So we've got some, coaches are trying to follow what Coach Kelly wanted to do, and that's the thing. We really would like to sync the middle school with the high school, where everybody's on the same page, and the same philosophies, and the same culture, and some of it's some sports are a work in progress, but that's the goal, and I think we've kind of turned a corner where that's where we're headed.
Right. Tuesday, the cross-country co-ed teams will be in action as they will be going to Batesville and take part in Invitational. The volleyball team is home with East Central. That'll be at the CHS gym. Thursday, boys soccer with Batesville at the CHS field. That ends the regular season. The sectional begins Monday at Rushville. The cross-country teams will be at Greensburg for an invite. The volleyball team will be meeting Rushville at the CHS gym. Boys tennis sectional begins at the Connorsville courts. It has a 5 p.m. start. Who's all in the sectional? Shane, can you tell us some of the teams coming?
With the soccer.
And the boys tennis.
In the tennis, it's a 4-team sectional. That is Union County and Rushville and Franklin County. So it's us four.
Okay, we have like 6 courts out there, don't we? Do they just play on one at a time? Or?
We have 6 courts, and the way that we have our format is we have three from one match and 3 from another match, and then as soon as a court opens up, the next available person steps in. So we always start out with our 2 doubles and our 2 and 3 singles. Okay. That way, our number 1 singles and our number 1 doubles are the ones that will come in towards the end and help decide the match. So that way, it kind of makes it more climactic when your top people are participating for the meet.
What are the chances of the Spartans? Itself. Are they doing okay?
Say that again.
Is the tennis team doing well?
Yeah, the boys are doing really well. The other day they knocked off Oldenburg, which is always a good win, and it slips my mind who they played. They played a really good program and got beat 3-2, I believe. So they have won several matches this year. So
well, wish you guys a lot of luck in the section.
Oh, we appreciate that. We
advance to the regional, right. The girls soccer will be at Greensburg on Thursday. That'll end the regular season, and their section will be opening Monday at Rushville also. I guess Rushville has a fantastic soccer field. What we have.
It's
lights
really
and
nice.
everything.
Yeah, and most schools are kind of going that way. Really redoing their either with artificial turf or redoing just like we redone our soccer field, and soccer's really big now, and
yes.
People are taking it serious, and the fields are really improving around the area, and it's really big time now. Right,
yeah, right. On Friday, the Spartan football team home to East Central. That'll be Youth Football League night, 7 o'clock kickoff. On Saturday, the volleyball team will be meeting Lawrenceburg at the JHS gym. The boys tennis sectional continues at Spartan Courts, 10 o'clock in the morning start time. Middle school sports this week. Football Tuesday will be at Winchester. The volleyball team Tuesday at Union County. Wednesday, they will be at Richmond Test. And Thursday, they'll be at Cambridge City Lincoln. And on Saturday, they host a volleyball invitational.
Busy week for
Connorsville, right. And cross country at middle school at Greensburg for an EIAC meet scheduled for Monday. Whether or not weather interfered, we will know shortly. Swimming and diving, Tuesday home to South Dearborn. Thursday home to Richmond. Saturday, they participate in the Richmond Invitational, and that'll be concluding their season for swimming and diving at the middle school. Here are the remaining opponents for the Spartans in football. East Central is 5-1. They come to town on Friday. They won 42-12 over South Dearborn. The Spartans and Trojans have 2 common opponents, Franklin County and South Dearborn. The Spartans lost to Franklin County 46-3. East Central won over the Wildcats 58-7, and the Spartans lost to South Dearborn 56-0. Lawrenceburg is 2-4. They lost in overtime, 33-30 at Batesville. They'll be at Rushville on Friday, and Batesville, after winning over Lawrenceburg home Friday with Greensburg, the Bulldogs play at Spartan Stadium October the 12th, the final regular season game, and it will be senior night. Here are the records of some area teams. Rushville is 4-2. They won 39-37 over LaPel. They meet Lawrenceburg on Friday. Richmond is 1-5. They lost to McCutcheon 57-20. They'll be at Lafayette Jeff on Friday. Cambridge City is 0-6. They lost 56-6 to Nicetown, home to Union City on Friday. And it will be Union County 4-2. They won 32-6 over Union City. They play at Centerville Friday. Franklin County is 2-4, winning 38-35. At Greensburg, they play at home Friday against South Dearborn. And Centerville 3-3. They lost 24-6 to Northeastern. As we mentioned, they'll be home Friday with Union County. So a lot going on, Shane.
You are right. A lot going on. Sections, you get to this time of year, your fall sports, your sectionals are starting to heat up, and then you got a lot going on.
Yeah, so this is the busiest time of the year, isn't it? Because this is the most sports are in action in the fall.
Yes, yeah, everything's going full force, and then your fall sports sectionals are starting up, and let's hope our Spartans can advance to our regionals.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll be hosting, I believe, the cross-country sectional?
Yes, we host the cross-country sectional and the boys tennis sectional.
Right.
And, we've been doing that for ever since I've been here, so I think we've been doing that for quite many years.
Cross-country, is that the sport where they run all over the campus at CHS?
Yeah, at CHS we kind of have to set aside because there is some running on the road, so we have to block off some areas, and to get your mileage in, you have to when they got twists and turns and coming through the grass and so forth. So yeah, there's a lot of, when we have the sectionals, there's a lot of places marked off where people cannot go.
It takes a lot of volunteers, doesn't it?
It does. And just a year or two ago, they actually started charging for the sectional for cross country. So then you had to block off parking lots and try to get an attendant to take tickets and things like that, which makes it pretty difficult. But yeah, you're
when
right.
they're spread out that far.
Yeah. And we did discover, because we kind of face that in soccer too. With we're not really enclosed, and so it's better sometimes just to wait till the event starts, and then you walk around and say, "Hey, can I see your ticket, please?" and then go that route. But it gets tough also.
You spoke that you get all the officials lined up and everything. Are the officials licensed every so often by the IHSAA, or how does that work?
And I used to be an official. I still am in the summertime, but I'm no longer licensed for IHSA. But you have to get licensed every year.
Okay.
And after your initial license, where you take the test, then it's basically paying your dues every year, financially. So if you pay your dues, then you remain licensed. And then if you forget by the end of May, then you have a late fee there that you have to pay. And it keeps getting higher the more months that you forget. So, yeah, but you have to be licensed in order to work an IHSA event.
Do these fellows have to have physicals or anything, to your knowledge?
No, there's no physicals involved.
Okay, I just wondered if that was
that's
a
not really a bad idea, but no, there's none of that.
Right, that's interesting, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, it is.
That they don't.
Right, because there's some of them we see that maybe you might be concerned them running up and down the court or the field, but do the officials like to come here?
Yes, I think so. Well, in basketball, they like to come here because of the Spartan Bowl and the tradition, and of course, when I hire officials, when I send out my availability for the following year, every official. I want the Union County game. I want the Union County game. So I have to kind of say, well, everybody wants that game. So because they want to do it in front of 5,000 fans.
Yes.
So so yeah.
That's quite a ball game, and everybody looks forward to the Wednesday before Thanksgiving every year.
Yeah, it's so exciting, and I think what makes it so exciting is it reminds you of yesteryear a little bit. It reminds you of that Hoosier hysteria.
Single class,
before class basketball. Excuse me, but yeah, when you see all those fans, it just kind of brings back those memories a little bit.
It's just 58 days away.
Excuse me, Sam.
I said it's just 58 days away.
Okay. Thanks everybody for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Good evening, everybody.